What's going on, guys? Your boy Mayo Jones here, and we back with another video. And this time, we'll be doing our we'll be doing our NFL 2026 power rankings for this year, because this is totally the power rankings after the draft. So we're gonna get started here, but before I give you my power rankings for NFL 2026 after the draft, don't forget to put thumbs up to like the video, subscribe to my channel, more options, and comment down your opinion below to see what you guys where would you rank your favorite team at? So let's get started here. So the team that I have being the worst team in football is the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins are ranked 32 for some reason. The reason why I have them ranked 32 and being the worst team in the league is because, the Dolphins are in a rebuilding mode. They lost too many players and they made an odd move by signing Malik Willis, which I don't know if which I still think he's pretty much unknown. I don't know if he's anything special, but he's been really good as a backup lately, but he's kind of more of a bridge option. And, the head coach, I'm not really a fan of the head coach and Jeff Hafley. He's a defensive mind. I just don't know if he has really a good identity of what the team will be. And, Mike McDaniel certainly had an identity with what the Dolphins will be until they moved on from him. So moving on from McDaniel was kind of terrible though, but you still moved on from several players. Like, you traded Jalen Waddle away, you let go of Tyreek Hill. Malik Willis doesn't have no one receiver, and you didn't address wide receiver, tight end throughout the draft, what they should have had. But you still got Devon Achane, which that's pretty nice. So you kept him around. But now you rely on Jalen Torres, your number one wide receiver, which I don't think he's anything special. The offensive line is not good. It still needs to work here. The defense, they lost too many players like Minkah Fitzpatrick, and who'd you trade away? Then you let go of Bradley Chubb. And then also, they did address defensive draft by getting a cornerback, and they got an offensive tackle throughout the draft. And all of a sudden, you end up getting a linebacker. I think it's in the third round, which is Rodriguez. I'm not sure. So, yeah, the Dolphins are probably going to be one of the worst teams in football, especially during rebuilding mode. Number 31, I have the Arizona Cardinals. The reason that I have the Cardinals at number 31 is because, the Cardinals, they don't have a quarterback right now. And Jacoby Brissett, I don't think he's the answer long term. They drafted a quarterback, I think, in the second or third round, I believe. And Carson Beck, I don't know if he's going to be a long-term answer. We'll have to see. I feel like your offense will be fine. I mean, you got great weapons like Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. You added Kendrick Bourne for agency, and especially Jeremiah Love throughout the draft, which I really like. And then you also got James Conner in the backfield. So that's a pretty good group of pass-catching threats. But I just think, the offense will still be terrible. But they did hire Mike LaFleur as a head coach, who was a last hire. Which I feel like he was a good offense coordinator with the Jets and with the Rams, but I just don't know if he's going to be anything special and have the quarterback to function at offense because, the Cardinals don't have a quarterback right now, but I still think he could call plays and he can run an offense. But, I mean, the offensive line is still okay. The defense, I don't think it's anything special. I mean, Will Johnson is really good. I mean, Garrett Williams is coming off of a injury. I feel like he was really good for them. They lost Jalen Thompson, but you still got Budda Baker. The linebacking core is unreliable. Edge rushers like D-line is unreliable as well. So Cardinals defense is not as good. I mean, the offense is pretty much mid at best. Like the Cardinals, I feel like they're more of a mediocre team. I mean, especially they're in a tough division, especially with the Seahawks, Niners, and Rams, who they basically got swept in. So they're basically in a tough division with those teams. Maybe they'll sneak out one, sure, but you lost Kyler Murray, and the Cardinals' quarterback position is no longer there. Maybe they get a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, maybe this team can totally take a step forward, but I just don't see it happening with the Cardinals. Maybe if you get those quarterbacks, that can totally change my mind. So I got the Cardinals ranked at 31. Number 30, I have the Cleveland Browns. And the reason for it is that I think the Browns are pretty much going to be one of the worst teams in the league because you don't have a quarterback right now, and now you're trying to get Deshaun Watson to be the front runner of your team and let him be the starter, which he's absolutely washed. Which he didn't really play all last season. Which that could be some type of a joke. If you're a Browns fan, that could be some type of joke. But on the other side, you moved on from Kevin Stefanski, and you end up getting a new head coach in Todd Monken, who I really like. I think he can run an offense. I think he can call plays, but I just don't know if he has a quarterback to function that offense because Dylan Gabriel is still small. Shedeur Sanders, I don't think he's anything special. Offensively, I like the draft picks from last year and Judkins and Fannin. So far, I like what they did in the draft so far this year by getting Denzel Boston and K.C. Conception to go along with Jerry Jeudy. The offensive line wise, I feel like they did a really good job so far adding Jenkins and Zion Johnson. I feel like that can probably help the Browns run the football a lot better. The defense is still good, it's still talented, but it's a question mark because you lost your defense coordinator in Jim Schwartz. I still think they can get a new defense coordinator that can help function that defense. Myles Garrett is one of the best. Carson Schwarzenegger, he's still there. I feel like he won Defense Rookie of the Year. The cornerbacks are okay. The safeties are a little thin. So basically, the Browns pretty much could be we can see the upside from it, but I just don't think they have the quarterback to do so. I think, especially I just don't really think especially with Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Lamar in your division, I just don't really see how the Browns are going to be able to at least get to the place where they want to be at just yet. So that's why I ranked them at 30. Number 29, I got the Jets. It's very interesting though because they're a very tough team to rank here because the Jets pretty much have the worst coaching in football. And, they have a quarterback in Geno Smith who was basically washed last year, especially with the Raiders. Now, the Jets, I like what they did through the draft by getting Bailey in the second round, and which the defense did a really good job making moves there by getting David Ayamaya and Mario Davis. But they're getting old. Maybe they can lead to the younger players as well. Mika Fitzpatrick was a good move, but I think he's getting a little bit older. The offensive line wise, it's okay, but not great. I like what they did in the draft offensively by getting Omar Cooper Jr. to go along with Garrett Wilson and also getting Sadiq. So I thought the Jets offense could be much in better shape where they could be more explosive, be more creative, especially with the play action calls and all that. And I feel like Frank Wright is past his peak because I feel like, he pretty much he did not do a lot of good things, especially as a head coach and offensive coordinator. So I think they could totally move on from him. And Aaron Glenn, which I'm not a big fan of, especially I was a big fan of him in Detroit, and I'm not a big fan of him as a Jets, which I don't think he deserved to get a head coaching gig, which he got it, which I don't think he deserves it. And their quarterback position, you traded Justin Fields away, you got an upgrade, which you got Geno Smith. Maybe they bring in Russell Wilson for quarterback competition. I don't know. We'll see. So the Jets, we can see the upside with them, but I feel like they have long ways to go. So that's why I have them ranked at 29. Number 28 out of the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are interesting though because I think the Raiders pretty much have revamped their roster a little bit. Now I like how the way they did improve their linebacking position by adding Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker. They added Quay Page to the defense. They brought back Max Crosby, which that's nice. The secondary did improve a little bit. They added Teron Johnson and they added Colton Hood throughout the draft. So the Raiders defense pretty much did improve. And then the offensive line did get a little bit better. You added Tyler Linderbaugh. They didn't address wide receiver. I mean, they added one in free agency in Jalen Naylor, but which I don't really think he's a good number one in my opinion. He's more of a number 2 or 3 option. Maybe they should look to get a wide receiver. Maybe they get like a Tyreek Hill. Maybe they get like a Stephon Diggs. I feel like the Raiders. Maybe they'll be in a good. Maybe they'll be fine offensively and be more explosive. I mean, I love Brock Bowers. He's a stud. Ashton Genty, I feel like he had a terrible rookie year. I feel like he can get better in year two. The quarterback position, they got Kirk Cousins. They added Fernando Mendoza. Kirk Cousins, he could be in line to start. Who knows? And then you got Clint Kubiak as a head coach, which he's a really good offensive mind. But I feel like he can totally make the Raiders' offense a lot better than it was last year because the Raiders' offense was really bad last year. Like, totally, they couldn't run the football and they couldn't throw the football where they couldn't score points. So yeah, the Raiders' offense. I feel like the Raiders could get a little bit better offensively, especially with the play calling. If the play calling's good, so yeah. So I got the Raiders. I feel like I see upside with the Raiders, but I think the Raiders. I feel like they're kind of far away from being good, especially during a tough division with the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs. So yeah. So I feel like the Raiders, they're I feel like they're at 28 and I feel like they're gonna be terrible. Number 27, I have the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons, they're very interesting though. We'll have to see. We'll have to really see what happens. I mean, the Falcons, they're ranked at 27, because I just don't really think the Falcons are there yet. Because I feel like they have questions at quarterback because who's a quarterback? Who's going to be QB1? It's going to be Michael Penix or is going to be Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, Tua, I don't think he's any good. Michael Penix, I don't know if he's going to be the answer. We'll see if he comes back healthy. I like parts of their offense. I love Drake London. I love Kyle Pitts. I love Bijan Robinson. He's a beast. I mean, they got some weapons there. I'll look to add another wide receiver because you moved on from Darnell Mooney. Offensive line is still great. The defense it was pretty good. It was pretty mid last year. I feel like they were really good in scoring defense last year. I like how the way the defense played last year at the end of the year. I feel like it played at a really good level. I like their young players. I love Jalen Walker. I love James Pierce. I love Watts, and especially they drafted a corner in the second round, which I really like. Linebacking core may need some work here. So yeah. So I think Atlanta's pretty much in a really good spot defensively, and also bringing back Olbers is really nice. Kevin Stefanski was a really good hire, but I just don't really know if he really going to have the offense to at least function without a quarterback though, because I don't know who's going to be QB1. Now, could we see the Falcons win division? Sure, we could see some upside, but they don't have a quarterback right now, and their quarterback position is not as good. So yeah, and then I feel like if the defense can get back to playing, feel like it can play at the same level like last year. I feel like they could be a tough team to beat, and maybe they could be a playoff team, especially they're in the weaker division as well. So yeah, I got the Falcons ranked at 27. Number 26, I have the Tennessee Titans. The reason for it is that I think the Titans, we could see some upside with this team. They're kind of an interesting team to rank because we could see some upside because Cam Ward is a first overall pick. He's entered through year two. I feel like if he could get to being like one of like the best quarterbacks, like if he could get to being like one of the best quarterbacks we ever seen, I feel like the Titans could totally get back to where they were years ago. Now, I like what they did through the draft. You added Carnell Tate to go along with Calvin Ridley. I love Wan'Dale Robinson addition, which is nice. I like the running backs, but they're terrible. They're not good. Um, I really think that Atlanta, I think the Titans, I mean, they brought in Robert Sala was a defensive mind. He's a defensive line coach. I feel like Brian Daboll can totally get the Titans offensive line. I feel like he can get the Titans offense a lot better, and the play calling can be a lot better. That can help Cam Ward. Now he has better weapons. The offensive line is still a question mark. They need to improve that. The defense, I like what they did by adding Jermaine Johnson and adding they added Jermaine Johnson, they added John Frankenmeyer, which that's nice. Jeffrey Simmons still there. Linebacking core, I like the linebacker out of Texas, what they got, and then secondary is something to be desired. Um, they lost Snead, but they need corners like their safeties are okay. Like I feel like there's so much playmaking there, especially if they want to play a lot of zone coverage, which Salah likes to do. So yeah, I mean Titans, they're a very interesting team. I like to see. We'll see if they can get back to where they were. Like if they could get back to like if Cam Ward can take a leap, I think the Titans could totally get to being a playoff team again. So they got some upside, but I just don't think they're there yet. So that's why I got them ranked at 26. Number 25 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now the Buccaneers are kind of an interesting team to predict. They're a weird team to predict because I think the Buccaneers so far are going to decline. Now here's why. Now the Buccaneers kind of declined last year because I thought the offense so far has taken a little bit of a step back last year, especially Baker played a little bit worse. And I feel like without Liam Cohen, the offensive play calling was terrible. And the offensive line did not play at its best, which led to Baker under pressure, which is still okay. I mean, they still got Mooch, they still got Tristan Wirfs. The offense, I mean, they got some weapons like the receiving core still fine. Mecca Buka is okay, but he's a bit overrated. Chris Godwin's a bit overrated. He didn't look good. He kind of declined last year. I mean, Kadon's okay. I mean, they still got other guys like McMillan. And I like them getting receiver throughout the draft. I like their offensive line. I like Bucky Irving. He's awesome, and they added Kenneth Gainwell out of the backfield, which that's nice. The defense did improve a little bit. You got Ruben Bain throughout the first round, which has a really good draft pick. I like the other players like Kalijah Cansey and Yaya Debayi. Linebacking core, you lost Avante David, which he retired, but you did add Alexander Anzalone to replace him. Secondary is pretty shaky. Antoine Winfield's still there. I mean, they lost Jamel Dean. Their corner depth is pretty thin, so they look pretty thin at corner. And Todd Bowles, I don't think he's a really good coach. He's a really good defensive coordinator, but not good as a head coach. Can't focus on both units at the same time. I feel like the Bucks might need to look for a new coach heading next year because I don't think he deserves a head coaching job. So yeah, so I think the Bucks at number 25, I have them declining. Number 24, I have the New York Giants, which I had them above the Buccaneers for some reason. Um, the Giants so far had a really good offseason. I like what they did throughout the draft by getting an offensive lineman in Maya Noah, and to at least improve that offensive line. I mean, they still got Evan Neal. I mean, they still got Andrew Thomas. Like the Giants' offensive line is still fine. I mean, it did improve a little bit. The receiving core is okay. I mean, you added. Malik Neighbors should be back healthy coming off injury. I mean, you added Darnell Mooney. Which that's nice. You bring in Isaiah Likely, which that's nice. So that's a lot of good pieces offensively. I mean, Slayton's still there. I mean, Cam Scatterby should be back healthy coming off the injury. Um, Jackson Dart's a question mark. I still think he's okay, but I don't think he's anything special. If he could be really good, like if the Giants offense can start to play at a high level, I think this team can get back to being a playoff contender. The defense is still okay. Like they did add Arvell Reese because they lost Dexter Lawrence, which that kind of hurt them, but you did add a DJ Reader. I love Abdul Carter. I love Brian Burns. I love Kayvon Thibodeau. They added Tremaine Edmonds, which that's nice. The secondary might need some work. I mean, they added Paso Adiblo, and they got Deontay Banks. I mean, they got Newman and Holland, which so that's pretty much nice trio there defensively. But I still have questions about the offense, especially Matt Nagy, because I feel like he's kind of past his day. Like I feel like he wasn't really a good offensive coach with the Bears and all that, but I just don't think I don't know how good he's gonna. And he wasn't good with the Titans or Jets, so I don't think he's gonna be any good with the Giants. Which the Giants offense, I just don't think it's gonna be anything special. So I think the Giants so far, I think they're in a position where I think they could totally surprise some people, but especially with the John Harbaugh hire. But I just don't really think they're there yet. Especially I know their defensive coordinator is as well. So I think the Giants at 24. Number 23, I have the Indianapolis Colts, in which I do think the Colts are going to regress because here's why. Daniel Jones is coming off a major injury. He's coming off an Achilles injury, which I don't know if he's going to be the same player this year. Maybe he doesn't in the first year, maybe the second year. We'll see what happens. The offensive line is kind of taking a step back. The receiving core, they traded Michael Pittman away, but you did bring back Alec Pierce. You got Tyler Warren entering through his second year. Can Josh Downs be that next guy? We don't really know. Jonathan Taylor's a beast. I love Shane Steichen. He's a really good offensive play caller, which I don't really. Who's a guy who can run an offense though? He does really good things though. The defense, they're getting a little old in some key positions like DeForest Buckner. Yeah, I mean they lost some guys on that defense. You traded Zaire Franklin away, so you lost your best leader. They're getting old in some key positions like Arden Key, DeForest Buckner, and Grover Stewart. Latu, he's young, and I like the secondary. I mean, Sauce Gardner is fine. I mean, you still got him. I mean, Kenny Moore. He's getting old. Jonathan Owens is getting a little old as well. But they got Travarius Ward, but they did add a Cam Taylor Britt as well to the secondary, which that's nice. So yeah, so you got good pieces there, but a lot of their pieces are getting a lot older because so far the defense kind of declined a little bit last year. Especially they were ranked as bottom 20, especially in scoring defense. And they were good run defense, but they were totally bad, especially in pass defense as well. So yeah, I think the Colts are going to decline this year because I just don't see it with this team. Like the team was so lucky to be on a winning streak until when they got towards the end of the season, they start losing every game. So yeah, I think the Colts, I think they're going to regress. That's why I got them ranked at 23. Number 22, I got the Minnesota Vikings. And the reason for it is that I think the Minnesota Vikings so far, like they made a really bad decision to trade Jonathan Grenard. Like you can't trade Jonathan Grenard if you're going to be a really good team. I mean, now you're relying on who's going to be your best player on defense. It's going to be Andrew Van Ginkel. It's going to be Dallas Turner. It's going to be Banks, who they got through the draft. Like, who's your best player on defense? Like, linebacking core, it kind of thin. Secondary, they're a little thin in some spots, especially at corner and at safety as well, because you moved on from Harrison Smith. So, basically, the Vikings so far, they're a little thin in some areas, though. Because they were so lucky to have a winning season so far, but I think this is a year I think they're going to decline because they lost some players on defense who they really liked. Now the offensive line, is kind of up and down. I mean, Christian Darrisaw is usually hurt. Usually gets hurt having the season. He struggles to stay healthy. Will Fries is okay. Jerkins is okay. But I like their skill group, like Jordan Addison. He's okay. TJ Hawkinson, he's a bit overrated. Justin Jefferson, he could be a little bit overpaid and might get traded, which he's kind of okay as well. Aaron Jones is still there. He's getting old, but Jordan Mason was a really good pickup, which that's pretty nice. But they still got questions at quarterback. They signed Kyler Murray, which I don't think he's a borderline top 10 quarterback, but I don't think he's close to being top 10. JJ McCarthy, I don't think he's anything special. So I think the Vikings, I think they're in a weird spot right now, which I think, Brian Flores, his defensive scheme is still good, which they brought him back, which that's nice. But I still think the Vikings are going to decline a little bit because I just don't really know if Kevin O'Connell's going to have the offense, going to have the quarterback to function in offense like that. Because so far, the Vikings offense was really, really bad last year. So, especially with the quarterback play. And I just don't think Kyler Murray is anything special. And I don't think he's going to be the same player like he was. So I think the Vikings are ranked at 22. So that's why I got them ranked 22. Number 21, I got the Carolina Panthers. And the reason for it is that I think the Panthers so far have had a really good offseason so far. I like what they did in the offseason. Now, I have questions about Bryce Young because I feel like Bryce Young is kind of small. He's smart. He's a little bit okay, but I don't think he's anything special. So far, the offensive line did a really good job improving a little bit. It did a really good job improving a little bit because now you had it, especially with their draft picks as well. Because you added Monroe Freeland, and then I like the third round receiver who they got from Tennessee, and I like which that's nice. Tentero McMillan's a stud at tight end. At receiver, they need tight ends. Like you lost Rico Dowell, and you still got Chuba Hubbard. I would look to add another receiver. I mean, I love Hooker, and I love Jalen Cooker, and I love Leggett. I feel like they're good options, but they need like another threat at wide receiver. The defense made some moves. I mean, they added Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd, which has their best moves defensively, where they spent money on. The secondary is still the same. You still got J.C. Horn. I mean, and the D line is still the same, but you still got Derek Brown. So far the Panthers pretty much did a really good job revamping the roster a little bit. So I think Carolina so far, I think they're okay. They can be okay because they won division last year, but I just don't really think they're going to be anything special because I think they have long ways to go, and I think they're far from being good. So I got the Panthers at 21, and Dave Canales is a really good coach as well. Like he's pretty smart and awesome and knows how to like keep this team competitive. And then also I like that they brought back Evero, which he was a really good defensive coordinator last year. I feel like he's been making the Panthers defense a lot better. So I think the Panthers so far, I think they're ranked. I think they're going to be ranked at number 21. Number 20, I got the New Orleans Saints. Now, I got them ranked at 20 for some reason because I think the Saints so far, I think they're going to be I think they can take a step forward this year because I'm a big Tyler Shough believer because he's been really good, especially throughout the draft. I mean, he was good in most of the games. So far, the offense so far was no longer being good. We'll see how good Tyson can be. Chris Olave is amazing. I like that they got Travis Etienne, which that was pretty nice. Alvin Kamara still there. I'll look to improve at tight end. The offensive line may need some work a little bit. It's pretty young, and it's probably going to grow and get better. Now, the defense so far, it did play close to being at a top 10 level, especially they were close to being top 10, especially against the run and the pass as well, which if I look at their rankings so far against the Saints, let's see. Because basically the Saints defense, they're ranked like top 10 for sure. Because they were fourth in, especially they were really good in pass defense. And run defense, they were kind of mid. So basically, the defense was pretty solid last year. But my concern for this team is that, they lost two of their best players. They lost Cameron Jordan. They lost Cam Jordan in free agency, and they lost Mario Davis in free agency. And the secondary looks kind of thin. They're thin at corner by losing. They lost Taylor, and then Kool-Aid McKinstry. Like, maybe he could take a step. We don't know. Their safeties, I love Eric Reed. I mean, they're getting young on defense though, but they're gonna get better throughout the future. But I still have questions about their defense so far, especially with the loss of Cam Jordan and Demario Davis. So yeah, I think the Saints, and I'm not a big Kellen Moore believer as well. So yeah, I mean Brandon Staley is a really good defense coordinator as well. So yeah, so I feel like that this could be a good spot for the Saints to win this division, but I just don't know if they're there yet. So I got the Saints at 20, right? I'm ranking them above the Panthers and the Bucks and the Falcons. I think the Saints could totally win the division, especially in a weaker division as well. Number 19, I got the Washington Commanders. The reason why I got the Washington Commanders at 19 is because I think the Commanders pretty much gotten a little bit better, because I kind of have them above the Giants, because I think the Commanders and Cowboys did some great things, which they got a lot better than the Giants, which I think that it will take a year. It'll take a couple years for the Giants to improve. So I got the Commanders ranked at 19 because I really think the Commanders pretty much did their thing this offseason. I like what they did throughout the draft by getting a linebacker in Sony Styles. They added Leo Chanel. Frankie Louisville's still there. Now, I did like that they added Owe to the D line, which that was pretty nice. Um, so far the offensive line, it's still good, but it's mid. But I don't think it's anything special. They could look to add another receiver outside of Terry McLaurin. Zach Ertz is gone. Running backs, they added Rashad White. I mean, Ja'Cory Krosky-Mara is fine, and they added Jerome Ford. So running back group is okay. They need a number two receiver. Like they need a tight end. Like they need more weapons to work with, because they didn't address wide receiver in the draft, which I don't know if they have. So I mean, the third round pick from Clemson, which I like, which I don't know if he's going to be anything special. Um, so far the secondary, I think they've gotten a little bit better, but I don't think. I mean, they added Amik Robinson, which I think that's their underrated sign, and Kilo Witherspoon, but I don't think they're good number one corners. And their safeties, I like Nick Cross, which that was a really good move. So they did everything defensively, but I just don't, and especially the defense, they were they were terrible last year as well, especially in scoring defense and yards per play as well. So maybe the Commanders defense can get a little bit better, which I don't think is going to be a lot worse, but I think it could be better than last year. But I feel like it's going to be long ways to go. And Jaden Daniels is a question mark. He's fragile. Like he gets injured a lot. Like he's special, but I don't think he's anything special. Which I think he's kind of declined a little bit, and I don't know if he's going to be the same player like he was before, because he's coming off, because he's gotten injured so many times last year. So yeah, I mean, I like the command. I mean, I want the Commanders to be good, but I feel like if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy, maybe they can win like 9 or 10 games. But they only won 4 games because Jaden hasn't played all last year due to injury. And I feel like their offense is probably going to decline because you lost Cliff Kingsbury, and now you got a new offensive coordinator you got to work with. And then Dan Quinn, he should have been defensive coordinator, because he wasn't really good as a head coach as well. Because I don't think he deserved it, because he wasn't really doing a really good job so far. Can't focus both on the same unit. So yeah, I think the Commanders ranked at 19. I think they're far away from being a contender. Number 18, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason why I got the Steelers at number 18 is because I just think the Steelers so far, I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back next year, because the question is, they have questions at quarterback. Will Aaron Rodgers be back? Will he not? We don't know. Um, So far, I like how the way they build their offense. I like them getting Rico Dowdle for free agency. They added Michael Pittman, which that's nice to go along with DK Metcalf. They end up getting an offensive lineman through the draft, which I really like. I like their draft pick on the offensive line. They end up getting the out of they end up getting an offensive tackle out of Arizona State. They end up getting a receiver out of Bama. So yeah, in the second round. Tight end's still the same. The defense, I feel like it could be really good. I mean, they're still the same unit, but they're getting a lot of old at some key positions, which that's fine. They added Jamel Dean to the secondary, which that's nice. They added Brisker, which that was pretty good. They added him there. So yeah. So basically the Steelers defense is still the same unit. They added Patrick Graham on there, which that's nice. Arthur Smith is still there as offensive coordinator. Now Mike Tomlin's gone and Mike McCarthy is a head coach, which I don't know if it's the best move that they went with the older coach, but I think it's okay. So yeah, so I think the Steelers so far, so I think the Steelers, so I think the Steelers, we don't know if Aaron Rodgers will come back. They have questions at quarterback, so and coach is still a question mark. So I have a little bit concerned here. I just feel like the Steelers are likely going to take a step back this year, especially with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson in your division. So that's why I got the Steelers ranked at 18. Number 17, I got the Jacksonville Jags. Now, I think Jacksonville is probably going to take a little bit of a step back next year because, you lost Travis Etienne in free agency. You lost Devin Lloyd in free agency, which that was huge. The O-line is still the same. The weaponry, I don't think they have enough in their weaponry because Jacoby Myers is still Jacoby Myers is still there. Brian Thomas is still there, which that's nice. I love Travis Hunter, but him going to cornerback. I don't know if I like that idea. He might play both positions. I don't know. Defense might decline a little bit, but it's still the same. The D line is still the same. Linebacking core may need some work. Corner may need some work. I love Jordan Lewis, but I don't think he's a good number one. They may look to improve at corner. They may look to improve at safety. And I love Liam Cohen. He's a really good offensive play caller. And Trevor Lawrence is fine, but he's kind of mid in my opinion. So Jacksonville so far, I feel like they're kind of a mediocre team right now. I feel like they're a team that totally got a lot worser, but they could totally make it back to the playoffs, which I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, I got Jacksonville ranked at 17. Number 16, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. So far, I think the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten a lot worser because, here's the thing. I just don't know if Mahomes is going to be the same player as he was years ago because he's coming off a major injury. But they did add Justin Fields just in case Mahomes is going to be ready. Now I did like how the way they did this offseason. I like that they added Kenneth Walker to replace Isaiah Pacheco, which I think that's a huge upgrade anyway at running back. And the offensive line is still a little bit up and down, but it's not good. But it's pretty young because I feel like if you can't run the football, your offense will be bad once again because they couldn't run the football last year. But I feel like with the Kenneth Walker addition, I think their run game will be a lot better. Now, they brought back Travis Kelsey, which that's nice. The receiving core, I love Rice. He's fine. Xavier Worthy had a down year, but he's okay. I like they brought back Thornton, but they lost Hollywood Brown. So offensively, they're really good in the weaponry. Especially they were like ranked as top 10, especially in total offense and yards per play. And defensively, I don't know if they're going to be the same unit. I don't think they're going to be the same unit like they were last year because They lost Trent. They lost their top two corners in Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. They lost Cook at safety. They did add Gillen to replace and got Delane from the draft to replace those guys. And then they lost Leo Chanel. They still got Drew Tranquil, and then they got Nick Bolton. If Chris Jones can be Chris Jones, then I think their defensive line will be elite. I like Woods throughout the draft, which that's nice. Um, they added Tonga and George Kalafdis is still there. So the Chiefs' defensive line is still they're deeper on the D line, but in the secondary, I feel like they could be a little bit thin, even though they drafted the corner in the first round, which that's nice. So yeah, so the Chiefs, I think that's I think they did some good things. They did an okay job. Um, but I feel like the Chiefs' offense is still very consistent, especially especially through the underneath passing, the quick passes, and the screen plays and all that. Like I mean they brought back Eric Bieniemy though, but I don't know if he's gonna fix that. Andy Reid might, but I don't know. Steve Spagnuolo's still there, which that's nice. They brought him back. I still don't know if the Chiefs, the question is, can Mahomes be back to where he was and all that? We don't really know. Well, we'll have to see what happens, which I think he could be, but we'll have to see. Because I feel like, the Chiefs want to run him back this year, and I feel like they really want to be a playoff team next year. But we'll see if they make the playoffs, though, because, Kansas City, they didn't make the playoffs last year because, they kind of declined with their offense. They kind of declined. Defense nearly declined as well. Like, yeah. I think the Chiefs so far, I think their defense might get a little bit worse post Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. So maybe if the Chiefs defense can play, if it can play really good, I think they can get back to the playoffs. So yeah, so I think the Chiefs, but I don't see it this year. Maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, I got the Chiefs at number 16. Number 15, I got Cincinnati Bengals. I pretty much got the Cincinnati Bengals ranked at 15 for a reason because I think the Bengals so far are gonna take a step forward this year because Joe Burrow, he's gonna be healthy. Your offense is still the same. I love Chase Brown, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase are studs. Chiseki is a good tight end. Offensive line wise, it's pretty good. It's still the same. The defense, they lost Trey Henderson, but you did brought in Dexter Lawrence, and then you bought in Moff, yeah, in free agency, which that's nice. Um, Especially then you brought in Jonathan Allen, which that's pretty nice too, and then Shamar Stewart's still there, and BJ Hill's still there. So basically, you're likely they're really deep on the D line. I mean, linebacking core may need some help. Um, Secondary, I mean, they did improve by adding Tyle Duggar and Brian Cook. DJ Turner is a stud, but you did lost Cam Taylor Britt. I mean, Dax Hill is still there. Like, so far the Bengals, they're pretty much deeper on the D line as well, but they need to improve at linebacker a little bit. So yeah, I love Zach Taylor, but I don't love him. But I feel like he's a good offensive mind, but not really good as a head coach. But I feel like the Bengals defense, if they can get back to where they were, I think they could be back to being a playoff team. So yeah, so I think the Bengals so far, I think they could be back to being a playoff team. This defense could start back playing at a high level, and the offense can, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, then I think they're going to be a playoff team. So I got the Bengals ranked at 15. Number 14, I got the Chicago Bears, and the reason for it is that I think the Bears, I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back next year because I think the Bears, I kind of really think the Bears are taking a step back because, you know, because I feel like, they were so lucky to make the playoffs, though. Like, they were so fortunate to win a lot of close games, especially the games that were comebacks. And I think the reason why I think the Bears are going to take a step back next year because, I feel like their offensive line might get a little bit worse, especially if they're getting a little old in some pieces, like Joel Tooney, like he's 35, and they added Garrett Bradbury. Like they're getting a little old on the offensive line, and yeah, I did, and I think they're getting a little old on the offensive line. Like Caleb, he's okay, but he could be very, like I feel like he's streaky, he's electric, he's explosive, but you know he's very erratic and all that. But I like his explosiveness. I like his avoidance of sacks. But you know the O line was pretty good last year. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be really good in the weaponry. I mean, Colston Loveland had a really good rookie season. I feel like he'll take a huge jump. Luther Burden can take a huge jump as well. I mean, Roma Dunze, I'm not really a fan of Cole Kmet. Roma Dunze could be a little bit overrated. I like their running backs. I like Swift and Monungai. I feel like they're really good. Um, they they don't have much in their weaponry. I mean, they lost Zacchaeus. They lost DJ Moore. Like the offense might decline, and the defense so far, I don't think they did nothing to improve, especially on the D line and at linebacker. It's still the same. Especially the cornerback group. I mean, it's still. I mean, they lost Nunshawn. They lost Wright, but you got Jalen Johnson, and then you lost a lot of safeties in free agency, but you did replace them through the draft by adding Thiemann, which that's nice. But you did nothing to improve the D line because the defense was really bad last year. But I feel like it's time. I think the Bears are going to take a step back this year because I feel like Caleb Williams is very erratic, and until he fixes it, I think the Bears can be back. But I just but the reason why I only got the Bears ranked at 14 is I like their coaching. I love Ben Johnson. Um I love Dennis Allen, but I just still like the Bears. I feel like this is a year they're gonna decline. They're going to decline. I mean, I know it's bold for you. I know how you Bears fans feel, but I feel like this is a year I think the Bears gonna decline a little bit. So yeah, I got them at 14. Number 13, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. The reason why I got the Eagles at 13 is because I think the Eagles, I got them because I feel like the Eagles might lose AJ Brown. But they did draft the receiver in Mekhi Lemon, which I think who I'm a huge fan of. We'll see what he can do. Devonta Smith, I feel like he could take that step to be a good number one. They added depth at wide receiver like Hollywood Brown, Dontavian Wicks, and Elijah Moore. They brought back Dallas Goedert, which that's nice. The O line is still perfect. Saquon's still Saquon. The Eagles got rid of their offense coordinator, got a new one. We don't know if he's going to fix Jalen Hurts. Maybe Jalen Hurts unfixable. Who knows? The defense, they lost Jalen Phillips. They lost Nakobe Dean. But you did replace Jalen Phillips with Jonathan Kennard during the draft, which that's pretty nice. The linebacking core is still the same. And the secondary, you lost Reed Blankenship, but you did add a Reek Woolen in there at cornerback, which that's nice. So now the secondary's improved. They still got Vic Fangio. He's a really good defensive coach. But the Eagles so far, I just think the Eagles, like I think this is a year they might decline because AJ Brown's is likely going to be on the move. I mean, I know you don't want to hear it, but it's likely happening. I'm really not a fan of their head coach. I feel like he's a jabroni. And Jalen Hurts, I feel like he's could be washed a little bit. Like I don't know if he's anything special. So yeah, I feel like the Eagles, they were so lucky to make the playoffs last year, but I think the Eagles might decline this year. So yeah, I got the Eagles ranked at 13. Number 12, I got the Dallas Cowboys. The reason why I got the Dallas Cowboys at number 12 now, I got them ranked above the Eagles just because I think the Cowboys, they're pretty much they're the most improved team in football. Now, I like how the way they retain their offense by bringing back George Pickens. CeeDee Lamb's still a beast. Jake Ferguson's still a beast. I don't like the other options, but I love Turpin. I love Flournoy. They brought back Javonte Williams, which that's nice because I thought Javonte Williams was the running back the Cowboys really trusted. Dak is very smart. He's a really good quarterback. He could be even top 10 this year. I love their coaching. I love Brian Scheimer. I feel like he's a promising coach. He's a really good offensive coach. The offensive line, is young and very promising. It's playing at a high level. The defense so far, I feel like it did a really good job this season. I mean, you got Rashawn Gary. You brought him in. Um, I like I like the Malachi Lawrence draft pick, especially they did do the draft, but they gave Malachi Lawrence and they ended up getting Caleb Downs. And then you also added Jalen Thompson, PJ Locke, and you also added Kobe Durant, which I think he's a fine cornerback, but I don't know if he's any good. I mean, Revel could look to and could be we look to be a stud in the future. They still got Deron Bland. Linebacking core wise, they got Overshown, and then they brought in D Winters, which that's nice. And then they still got Donovan Azaraku entering to his second year. I love Quentin Williams. I love Kenny Clark, which they're a beast. And I didn't like that they traded Odigizua, but it is what it is. The Cowboys D line, they're much deeper. I feel like the Cowboys are much better on defense right now than they were last year. They end up getting a new defense coordinator, Christian Parker, which I think that's an upgrade over Matt Eberflus. So yeah, I think the Cowboys pretty much improved their defense, and I feel like they pretty much have the best offense in the division. And I really think they have the best quarterback in the division right now. So yeah, and that's pretty much why I got the Cowboys ranked above the Eagles, and pretty much think they're so yeah, and I really think they're a team to win their division next year. So yeah, I like Dallas so far. I think they're gonna make a playoff run. Number 11, I got the Detroit Lions. The reason why I got the Lions at number 11 is because the Lions so far, I think the Lions so far are pretty much are going to take a step forward this year, and I feel like they might have an easier schedule than they had easier schedule this year because I feel like having a tougher schedule was kind of challenging for them, which it kind of hurt them last year. But I feel like with the easier schedule, if they have it this year, I think it could help. Now I did like the improvements. Now they traded David Montgomery away, and you added, which it kind of hurt a little bit, but you added Isaiah Pacheco on the backfield behind Jameer Gibbs. I like the other talent group like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. And I love Laporta as well. I mean, Laporta, he didn't play the rest of the year due to injury, so he should be back healthy. Um, Offensive line wise, they're really good. I mean, I love Blake Miller throughout the draft. I mean, Derek Moore out of Michigan through the second round was pretty good. So they did improve the D line a little bit. I mean, defensively, they still got talent like Aiden Hutchinson. I love McNeil. Linebacking core, they could be a little thing because they lost Anzalone. They still got Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes. Secondary is still the same. I mean, DJ Reed's a bit overrated. Arnold should be back healthy. I love their safeties. I love Brian Branch. I love Kirby Joseph. So they're a little bit deeper on defense. I like their defensive coordinator. He's awesome. But they did get a new offense. They got rid of John Morton and added Drew Pensington as the offensive coordinator, which I think could help Jared Goff because Jared Goff played a little bit worse last year due to the offensive line not playing at the best. But they did improve it by replacing some guys, older guys, which they did get younger though. Like because the O line wasn't playing really good. Um, they added K Mains. I mean, which that was nice. So yeah, so Lions offensive line did revamp it a little bit. The defense still revamped. I feel like Jared Goff will be in much better shape, and I feel like he'll play a lot better. And I feel like the Lions offense can play a little bit better. I love Dan Campbell, how the way his team be fighting. So yeah, so I think the Lions so far, I think they're going to be a tough team to beat. I feel like the Lions are probably going to be back in the playoffs next year. I think they'll take a step forward this year to be a real contender. So yeah, so I think the Lions so far, I got them at number 11. Number 10, I got the Green Bay Packers. The reason why I got the Packers at number 10 is because I think the Packers so far, maybe they might take a little bit of a step back next year because I don't really know if Parsons is going to be the same player like he was because he's coming off an injury. Because we'll see what happens. Now, I did like what the Packers did. Is also they added a linebacker through free agency. They ended up getting Zaire Franklin to go along with Edgerrin Cooper. So the linebacking core is okay. Um, the D line, they lost Quay Walker, which that's okay. It's still the defense is still the same. I mean, They added Javon Hargrave, which that's nice. Micah Parsons a stud. Devontae Wyatt's a stud. Yeah, and then secondary is still the same. I mean, Keyshawn Nixon is still there. Xavier McKinney's still there. Um, they need another cornerback because I don't think Nixon's good number one. And then Josh Jacobs is a beast as well on offense. I mean, they lost too many players on the offensive line, but the receiving core is young. I mean, Christian Watson's still there. Jaden Reed, they brought him back. Matthew Golden, I feel like he's entered through year two, so he can take a huge jump. Tucker Kraft's a stud. I mean, he was hurt last year. I feel like he should be back healthy. So basically, the Packers so far, they really need some work to do now. I don't know if I was a fan of their draft pick so far, but they selected a cornerback. They selected Brandon Seiss in the second round, which I think I really like. Which that was pretty nice. So yeah, so I think the Packers so far, I think they could be back to being a playoff team like they were last year. I feel like they're still the same roster. So I think the Packers, I have them ranked at number 10. Number 9, I got the Baltimore Ravens. The reason for it is that I think the Ravens so far are a much more improved team than we were last year. I feel like they did improve their roster a little bit. I thought I like that they brought in Trey Hendrickson. I like that they brought in back Calais Campbell, which that's pretty nice. I mean, they got Matamuke, who's a stud. He should be back healthy, coming back from injury. Linebacking depth is really good. I mean, Roquan Smith's a stud. Secondary still the same. Like their corners are studs. Their safeties are studs. Like yeah, so they're deeper on the D line now and in the secondary. Offensive line wise, they lost Linderbaugh, but they did added an offensive lineman throughout the draft. I mean, they end up getting one in the first round. They end up getting Loane. Then they end up getting Zion Young, and they end up getting Jacoby Lane throughout the draft, which I really like. Now, I like the other receivers. I love Zay Flowers. He's a stud. I like Mark Andrews. I feel like he's getting a little older. Bateman is past his peak. Derrick Henry is still a beast, but he's getting older. Now, I just still don't know if Lamar Jackson is ever going to be the same because he hasn't been playing. He hasn't really played much. He only missed a couple games due to injury, and yeah. But I did like the coaching hires of Jesse Minter, and I like Anthony Weaver. I feel like they're good defensive minds. I feel like they can make the Ravens defense get back to playing where it was. But my concern is that they lost Todd Monken and they end up getting the former Bears offense coordinator, which I think it was which I think it was DeClain Doyle from the Bears, which I think it was. Like he was really good at offense coordinator for the Bears. I feel like he could totally make the Ravens offense a lot better. But I still have questions about Lamar's health. Like I feel like if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, I think that the Ravens can get back to being a playoff contender. So yeah, so I think the Ravens will be a lot better than they were last year if long as Lamar stays healthy. So yeah, I got the Ravens ranked at number 9. Number 8, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. And the reason for it is I think the Chargers so far, I feel like they're going to be a better team than we were last year because so far the Chargers, they made a playoff run last year. They were really good offensively. They were like a top 10 offense in football. Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. I like their receiving talent. I love Quentin Johnston. Um, I love Quentin Johnston. I mean, Keenan Allen's a free agent. I mean, but they might need some. I love Lad McConkey. He's a beast. Running backs are okay. I mean, Omari Hampton is entering into his second year. Offensive line did lose some pieces, but it's still okay. The defense, So far, it's still the same. I mean, they brought back Khalil Mack and they end up getting Akeem Massendor in the first round. They end up getting an offensive lineman in the second round, I believe, and Jake Slaughter. Linebacking core, it's still okay. Secondary wise, it's okay. I mean, they were really good in pass defense, especially in the back end of their defense, and Jesse Minter was really good for them. But I kind of really think the Chargers defense could totally take a step back due to the loss of Jesse Minter. But they really need a cornerback, so I'll look to add corner, maybe another linebacker as well to at least improve the back end of their defense in the middle of their defense. So yeah, so the Chargers are kind of an intriguing team to watch. I feel like they'll be back in the playoffs once again, and I feel like that defense play at a high level. It can do that again. So I got the Chargers at number 8. Number 7, I got the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos so far, I feel like they had a really good offseason, and I still think they're the same team we were last year. Now, I my concerns about Bo Nix because I don't know if he's going to be the same player as he was last year because he was hurt. And, I feel like, the Broncos offense could decline. Now, I just don't really know if the Broncos offense is going to ever be the same because now you lost, but now because, you added Jalen Waddle to go along with Cortland Sutton, which to improve the receiving core. Evan Ingram's still there. The offensive line is still the same. The defense it's okay, but I mean they brought back Vance Joseph, which that's nice. I mean, defense is still the same. They still got players there. Cooper's a stud. Nick Bedino's a stud. Like Patrick Surtain's a stud. I mean, Alex Singleton. Like they got a lot of players studs on defense, especially with Fonga. Like so, the defense is pretty solid. But I feel like the defense could decline a little bit. And Sean Payton's a really good offense coordinator as well. Is a really good offense coach who can call plays that can run offense as well. So yeah, I think the Broncos so far at number 7. I mean, they're pretty interesting, and I think they could be totally back to winning their division next year. So yeah, I got the Broncos at number 7. Number 6, I got the Houston Texans, which I got them ranked at number. I got them above the Broncos, which that's crazy. Now, the Texans so far. Now, I feel like their defense is going to be really good next year. Like it could be really good. I mean, McDonald through the draft was pretty nice. Now, I like their 2 edge rushers. I like their linebackers. They're really good. I like their corners and safeties, with they're awesome. So I think this defense is pretty solid. I feel like D'Amico Ryans does a really good job with that. Now on the other side, I like how the way they improve the offensive line. I like how the way they improve their run game a little bit by adding David Montgomery because if you don't have a run game, your offense is gonna be bad. But I like so far other options. I like Nico Collins. I like Jaden Higgins. I mean Tank Dell should be back healthy. So far, and Dalton Schultz is a beast, is a stud. So far, Texans got weapons on offense, but it was pretty terrible last year. Especially they were terrible, especially in scoring offense, especially their ability to run and throw the football. And CJ Stroud was kind of took a decline. And I feel like CJ Stroud can be in better shape than he was last year. So yeah, so far I think the Texans, I feel like they can win their division again because we know they didn't win it last year. I feel like they're a team to beat in the AFC South because they pretty much have the best defense division. But their offense is not good. But now you're saying, you got them ranked at 6 because their offense can't do anything, but their defense can. So yeah. So I got the Texans ranked at number 6. I feel like their defense is going to be good yet again. I feel like they're going to make the playoffs once again. Number 5 got Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, I think the Seahawks are probably going to decline a little bit because I think, now I think the Seahawks are going to decline because I just really think the Seahawks, they're kind of like in a bad place. Because I think the Seahawks could totally be in a place where they could decline because, they lost, multiple players. Especially they lost Mafi, they lost Reek Woolen, they lost Kobe Bryant. They lost Kenneth Walker in free agency, but you did try to replace him with Jadarian Price throughout the draft. Receivers are core is still the same. I mean, Cooper Cup kind of declined. He may not be the same player. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba is a beast. Rashid Shaheed is okay. So the receiving core is still there. Sam Darnold, I don't really know how good he's gonna be. I feel like he could totally take a step back though. I feel like he could decline. But I really think Seattle, I think they're in that weird spot where they could look to at least regress because you lost, multiple starters, and you lost Clint Kubiak as your offensive coordinator. You got a new offensive coordinator. Um, Mike McDonald's still there. He's a really good defensive coach. So far, Seattle is still there. Like the defense is still the same. Like despite the losses. So yeah, I think Seattle might decline this year because I feel like their offensive line is still not the same. Their offense may not be the same it was last year. Sam Darnold could totally regress, so which that's concerning. So I got the Seahawks at number 5. I mean, I understand they're coming off winning the Super Bowl, but I just feel like this is the year I think Seattle might take a step back. Number 4, I got the Patriots, and the reason for it is that I just think the Patriots, I feel like the Patrons are gonna I feel like they're gonna take a little bit of a step forward this year because now they're looking towards getting AJ Brown. You added Romeo Dobbs free agency, which that's nice. Offensive line still the same, but Will Campbell's still there, but he was coming. He's gonna be back healthy because he was injured last year. Now the defense could totally use some work here. Now they don't have a great pass rush, but they do a good job stopping the run. Linebacking core is still the same. Secondary wise, still the same. I mean, Patriots defense was playing at a high level last year, and so far, I like Mike Vrabel. I feel like he gets the team motivated. Adding Kevin Byard was a nice move. I like I like Drake May. He's a pretty good quarterback. Josh McDaniels really good offensive coach, offense coordinator. So yeah, I mean, the Patriots, maybe they could look to get Max Crosby. Maybe they'll look to get Joey Bosa. Because I feel like the Patriots, maybe they could look to get another pass rush like that. So, yeah. So, I think the Patriots so far, I think they're I think they're going to be a decent team. So, yeah, I got them ranked at number 4 for some reason. Because I think the Patriots could totally get back to the Super Bowl. They can get back to the playoffs. And which they could surprise a lot of people. So, yeah. So, I think the Patriots, they're going to be ranked at 4. I like that. I like what they did this offseason. Number 3, I got the Buffalo Bills. The reason why I got the Bills at number 3 is because I think the Bills so far are going to be it's pretty much a much improved team that I ever saw. I like what the Bills did in free agency. I like that they added DJ Moore to the receiving core, which that's nice, which they get as a huge upgrade. I like the other receivers. I love Khalil Shakir. I love Keon Coleman. Um, I love Dalton Kincaid. He's a pretty good tight end. Dawson Knox is awesome. I love James Cook. He's a stud. Josh Allen's like one of the best quarterbacks. But my question is that they moved on from Sean McDermott and they got Joe Brady as head coach, which he's a really good offensive mind. He can run an offense. He can call plays, and the offensive line is still the same. The defense so far is still the same, but I like the Bradley Chubb move, which that's nice. Linebacking core could be a question mark because you lost you lost Matt Milano. Could you bring him back? We don't know. I like other players on defense. I like the secondary. I love Benford. I love Maxwell Harris. I love Cole Bishop. I love DeMar Hamlin. I love Geno Stone addition. I mean, the Bills' defense looks pretty strong. Their special teams is very strong. I mean, I like so far how the way the Bills did this offseason. I feel like this is the year I think the Bills can win their division. And I feel like this is a year I think they could totally make the Super Bowl. So yeah, so far I like the Bills. So far I like what they did this offseason, upgrading at wide receiver, keeping the defense the same. Like yeah, I have to. I got the Bills at number 3. Number 2, I got San Francisco 49ers. And the reason why I got the Niners at 42 is at number 2 is because I think the Niners so far, I like their offseason additions. I like how the way they upgraded receiver by adding Mike Evans. Ricky Pearsall's still there. They added Christian Kirk. I love Demarcus Robinson. George Kittle's still a stud, but he should be back fully healthy coming in the season. Um, Now the question, my concern for the Niners is the run game is pretty. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's a beast. My question for the concerns is that the Niners' run game was pretty bad last year, and it's not going to be bad 2 years in a row. I love Brian Robinson. I love Isaac Guerrero, but I didn't like that they traded Jordan Mason. Brandon Ayuk is still on the roster, but he's likely going to be out of there. Brock Purdy is a beast. Mac Jones is okay, but he was a really good backup for them. Offensive line is pretty solid. So far, I like that they added. It's still the same. They brought back Trent Williams, but they did draft a receiver in Striblin from Ole Miss, who I really like. Now the defense did improve a bit. I mean, you got like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa as your best leader, who all hurt last year, which I think they can stay healthy. Also, Digizua was a big addition. You still got Alfred Collins, and you still got Michael Williams, who was hurt last year, and then Keon White's still there. So that's a pretty good defensive line, which I think they're deeper on the defensive line. Linebacking core, you brought back Dre Greenlaw, which that's nice. And then secondary, it's pretty young, but you did add in Nate Hobbs. I don't know if he's good number 1. Lenore is solid cornerback as well. Upton Scout is still there. Mustafa is still there as well. So the Niners pretty much are deeper on defense, but they did lose Robert Sala, but you did replace him with Raheem Morris, which I think he'll do good with the defense. And I feel like Kyle Shanahan will have a better run game than he did last year because he's one of the best offensive coaches. And Purdy, I feel like if long as the Niners can stay healthy, I feel like they can be a Super Bowl threat because they weren't all healthy last year. Like, despite the injuries, they found a way to make the playoffs and won a playoff game. But I feel like as long as they stay healthy, they could totally be a team that could totally host a Super Bowl. So yeah, I like the Niners being at number 2 here. And finally, my number 1 list of who I have as best team is the Los Angeles Rams. Now I have the Rams linked at number 1 because the Rams so far, they have the best quarterback in the division. They have, they got Matthew Stafford, who's very solid. You got I mean, I like their offseason moves, especially, I like how the way they did. I mean, offensively, they're still the same. Puka is a beast. Devontae Adams is a beast. If he can stay healthy, I feel like he could be really good, but he could totally decline, which that could totally the Rams offense decline. They may use some work at tight end. Maybe they could look to add a number 3 receiver. Offensive line wise, it's still the same. Um, uh, Defensively, they're really good. Especially, I like how the way they improved their secondary by adding Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, and their safeties are really good. So now they can play more press coverage and man coverage as well. Because now in the back end of their defense, they could be a lot better there, where they can play a lot more man coverage and more press coverage as well. They brought back Chris Shula, which that's pretty nice. Which that's a huge plus because he was a good defense coordinator for them. I love Sean McVay. He's a really good offensive coach. He's a guy who can call plays and run an offense. I love the Cliff Kingsbury addition as well, adding him there to the Rams, which I think he's a guy that can call plays and can run an offense as well. Now, the funny thing part is about the Ty Simpson stuff. Stafford is getting a lot older. He's like 1,000 years old. I feel like as long as he can stay healthy, I feel like the Rams can totally make it back to the Super Bowl because they were so close to making the Super Bowl last year. But I feel like I feel like with them upgrading their secondary and revamping it, and their pass rush being the same, I feel like the Rams can totally be back being a Super Bowl threat. But they still need work at linebacker as well. I mean, I love Latman. He's okay. So pretty much the Rams probably pretty much did a really good job their offseason so far. I feel like they had the best offseason. I feel like they're the best team heading in 2026. And I feel like they're the team that can totally win the Super Bowl this year. So yeah, I got the Rams ranked at number 1. Well, those are all my 2026 power rankings for those are all my power rankings for 2026. Hope you guys enjoy watching, and don't forget, if you disagree with me, just let me know in the comment section below where you rank your favorite team at, though. Let me know where you rank your favorite team at. So yeah. So it's Emmanuel Jones, big fan. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. You can see more of my videos as well. You can watch them, you can view them as well. Well, thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Peace.